Hello and welcome to our EV meeting. Here you can see who is presenting tonight. It's a fairly long presentation or meeting, so if you don't want to watch the whole thing or listen to it, just pick out what you want to look and listen to.
Okay. By the way, hopefully being passed around are little sheets with this barcode, this QR code or website. Just want to take a poll of what you'd like to see at the meetings. If you want to get a drawing for one of the ebooks, Amazon Kindles. We're not going to give it away today, but at the end of next week, we'll be pulling from a drawing. So if you want to be in the drawing, you also, if you want, you can ask for a 3-month free membership to the Electric Auto Association, including their monthly magazine. It's an electronic magazine, but on the two tables you can see some of what they do a pretty darn good job. But it's 3 months for free. There you go. That's when you get the hard copy. It's black and white. The electronic is color. But it's 3 months for free membership. After that, they'll ask if you want to continue, and they'll charge you the an appropriate rate depending upon student or senior or whatever.
They're losing money on the black and white to give you a bad time. But anyway.
Yeah. So, but you know, Electric Auto Association is a key driver for a lot of things going on in the country with respect to electric vehicles. So let's get started. First, I want to thank a couple of people for, especially Nissan again, as always, for hosting us at this site with all the chargers here. So I think so I appreciate that, and I think our next meeting in November 11th, I think is going to be. Is that planned to move up to Sullivan? Where's Heath? There you are. Are we still thinking about doing that?
Hopefully we can coordinate with this volt, now 16 volts. So
right. So be aware. The next, it may be. We'll send out an email, but it may be the next meeting in November is not here, but up in Roseville. All right. So I want to thank also John Sullivan Chevrolet for sponsoring our pizza tonight. Let's do that. Keith, you're doing an awesome job for us out there. Thank you very much. Not just for us, but also the whole EV community. And again, the guy always in the back that never gets the credit for doing all the work you do, that's Eugen. Thanks for videotaping this. Thanks for all the different things you're doing. So appreciate that. Restrooms are out, just right out that. Let's see, no, right there. Is that a unisex restroom, Owen? Okay. And okay, so I think we're set to get started. Another little thing. We like to give out cards. When you drive around and you see an EV, put one of these in their windshield. So I've got a box of these. They just say what we do in the back and our contact information on the front. We're not growing our membership as fast as the cars in our region are growing. The EVs are still taking off and doing well, but our membership is growing every month, you know, but it's not growing as fast as the EVs out there. So we need to get our name out there a little bit. And I've stopped the last 5 times I've seen an EV. I've walked over and talked to them, and I've asked if they know about SacEV. No. Never heard of it. Yeah.
Can we ask CSE if they'll throw a card in with their check when they get the check?
Well, that's the statewide. It'd be interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
I mean, I'm sure there are other regions that have local EV associations.
One that lists all the different ones. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Can you add that to our action list?
Okay. What about if there's a decal or something for the members to stick on their own cars to advertise? Is there one?
That would be a nice thing to do, especially one that's removable, you know. Yeah. I don't know how much those cost, or maybe we'll look into that. You want to note that down as well? That's a good idea. And of course, ideas always require volunteers. So we'll be getting to that shortly. All right, so let's keep going. Oh, I forgot to. So we've got quite a few things to cover. First, I want to start. Who's here for the first time? Any new members here that have never been here before? She's doing that because she knows what's going to happen. Any other people that have never been to one of these meetings, SacEV meetings? We've got to get more cards out there, guys. All right. Quick trivia. What country, have you heard of this? What country is going to install EV? Wow. You guys are well connected. Russia has decided that every gas station will have an EVSE, a charging station, within it's a little over a year. That's pretty ambitious. Who knows, shorthand, what SB 350 is shorthand for it should be 350 parts per million. Senate bill number standard for DC fast charging.
And 35 as well. Senate bill. For 2 bills.
Senate bill is right.
But how many people have seen the WISPA page telling people they're going to run out of gas when we take the gas away from them?
Oh, I know, isn't that great?
Hey, the governor just announced they backed off to 50%.
They dropped the target back. Oh,
Like
damn.
45 minutes ago, they announced they're dropping that. The other two will sail through, but the
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's strange. The oil companies think that there's a war on them. I don't know where they've come up with that idea.
She said the oil companies won a skirmish, but we'll be back.
Yeah. All right. The new Leaf that supposedly has not yet been announced is coming shortly, we hope, next couple weeks. It's going to have a longer battery range option. And it's backward compatible with what? Back to what model? 11. 11, yeah, that's right. All the way back. All the ones they produced so far.
And what size is it going to be?
I don't know. I've heard somewhere like 100 miles or 110 miles. I don't know.
Kilowatt hours.
Kilowatt, I do not know.
30.
30. The rumor has it, it's 30.
Well, we should ask Owen.
Oh, no, that's not fair. All right.
Come on, Owen.
I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Dish.
Okay, EV sales.
You want to know.
For just our region, it's been bumping the last couple of months, but what surprises me, even with the gas having dropped lower, gas prices continuing to go lower, people saying that that's going to happen for quite a while, that they will remain low. Look, people are still out buying EVs. It's not that it was strictly a matter of being 1/4 the price of gas. They've seen the other value. They're fun to drive. They positive on the environment. Those other attributes that are just making EV so delightful. Yeah.
So one of my neighbors that see me driving around all this time, they actually about 3 weeks ago bought a 2013 used. They were able to pick it up for 10,000.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people buying
They're
used.
loving it. I
There's
tried to get them to
fantastic-
the meeting tonight, but
Yeah, there's some fantastic deals out there.
The used market is coming on very strong. I've seen almost half of the people I've talked to recently that I've never met before. I just stop and talk to them about it. Almost half of those are used cars now.
Yeah.
All right, California overall still, hovering in around over 4,000, because these are 1/3 below the actual sales, because not everybody registers their car for this, for the rebates. So, still holding in there and doing strong.
There's one thing missing on there, the fuel cell vehicles.
Actually, no, they are there.
You have to put a note that 2/3 of them can't drive because the stations are down all
All right, David.
There is a fuel cell up the street here.
All right. So just quick update on utilities. I want to hand over for SMUD. Can we have a SMUD update? Where is, we lost our SMUD guy. Deepak. I'm going to hand over the mic to you.
At the end of the agenda.
Here you go. You want to put that on your collar there, and I will. Thanks.
Right?
I'll go ahead
Thanks,
and
Guy.
press this
I don't know if everyone can hear me loud enough.
I'll
Probably
go
don't
ahead
even
and do
need a mic. Was it not? Okay, so a guy asked SMUD to give a few updates on what you can expect in the coming months, and one of the changes you'll see is
stand over here.
okay. One of the changes you'll see is that there'll be some changes in the EV rate offerings. Basically, what SMUD is going through a process of consolidating your rates. For the last few years, we've been trying different rates, giving flexibility, seeing what customer feedback is on different rates. And now we're trying to standardize and commonize our rates for different technologies and focusing on time of use, which I know many of you are probably on one of the EV time of use rates we offer. So you'll be seeing some messaging late this year, starting through the mail on EV rates. The EV customers or on the EV rate plans will be notified first. And then the formal, broader communication will happen early next year, and that's to all of our customers. So for this year, I'm guessing, has anybody signed up for an EV rate this year, 2015?
Customers that have.
Yeah, I've had customers that have had. Well, if you did sign up for EV rate this year, you would have noticed that there's only one option available right now. So the only option available to sign up for EV rates is the RPEV1 whole house rate. That's the only one available currently. And starting next year, we'll have a new rate offering. RPV1 will not be available as a new rate to sign up for. What will be available is the RTO1 rate with an EV discount. It's a time of use. You have a question?
Can you do the whole house EV rate if you're on the solar rate as well?
So I believe so, yes. So RTO1 is actually, it's going to be available to only EV and solar customers for the first year, for next year. So the answer would be yes to that.
And when will that kick in?
It'll be available in 2016 to sign up for that rate. Mm-hmm.
Our current EV innovator rates are good till the end of 2016?
That I don't, that's fuzzy. I don't know the complete answer to that. That will probably come out of the communication later this year. So I do know most of the rates will be, what I've heard so far is most rates will be phased out next year, except I think if you're under the RPV1, that option will remain if you've already signed up for that. I'm sorry? That's whole house, yeah. So the EV whole house will be retained for next year, and I believe the others will be phased out. Those details haven't been finalized, but that'll come out later this year. Yes, Beck?
I want to tell everyone, I have several customers who have signed up for the whole house rate, and they love it. So I don't want anyone to be discouraged because they've been getting the EV rate or the EV Innovators rate. They absolutely love this rate.
Yeah.
Can you repeat a little bit what you said?
No, it will not. It'll
for
be
the
a
recording?
whole house
Sure.
rate.
Yeah, so again, to reiterate, and that's part of the driver actually from our different rates we piloted, the satisfaction for whole house was about the same as the sub-metered rate. So we advocated for the simplicity. We felt that it was more convenient for customers. So we're advocating a simpler rate. Yes?
What happens to those folks that already have a sub-meter installed, especially if it was under the pilot project?
Sure. So that's to be determined. That'll come out in the communication later this year. What happens to if you already have a sub-meter, how will we handle that? But I don't have all those details just yet. But I've heard probably October, November that'll be finalized, so later this year. So again, you can only sign up for RPV1 right now, the whole house EV rate. Next year you'll have RTO1 with the EV credit available. And most of the other EV rates will be phased out. Can we go to the next slide? Thanks. So this is a preview of the rate. You can tell the graphic quality is not very good because I had to scan a document to put this up here. This is for the RTO1 whole house rate, where it's about 15 cents in the daytime, all year round from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. per kilowatt hour. And for the summer during super peak, it's going to be, and that's only for June through September, it's going to be around 31 cents per kilowatt hour. And then for off-peak, around 9 cents. And for EVs between midnight and 6 a.m., about 1.5 cents off that. So for the off-peak between midnight and 6 a.m., the whole house rate will be about 7.2 cents per kilowatt hour.
So originally, SMUD and other utilities used to say that without a simulator, they couldn't tell you how much energy the EV was using. Are you guys using an algorithm to identify EV usage?
Well, right now are you referring are you referring to that in regards to any regulatory requirements, like for LCFS or anything like that? Or,
I'm just saying you're looking at a whole house usage and you're identifying the amount of that the car is using.
We're not. This is for the whole houses at that rate, not just the EV.
Oh, so yeah, it comes off everything. Okay.
It's off everything, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering that too.
But to be eligible for that credit, that 7.2 cents mid to midnight 6 a.m., you do have to. We'll ask for some evidence that you own an EV.
Okay.
Yes.
Once you have that evidence and have an EV, you sell the house, you have a different, don't have an EV that house anymore. How do you pick that up?
Well, you mean at your new residence, or?
Well, no, in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's saying, how does SMUD
determine that there's really still, okay, I get it that you have to have some evidence when you put it in the first place, but you might sell a house, all kinds of different.
Well, if you sell the house, there would have to be a new account created. So again, the new resident would have to go through a process of showing evidence.
What about other things, like you no longer have an EV, it got totaled or something?
Yeah, we wouldn't necessarily know that if you sold the EV but you got on that rate. Yeah. So I think when you sign up for the rate, there will be an expectation that that you have to be honest that if you sell the EV, you get off it. But we won't know for 100% sure if you did do that.
Can a renter get this rate?
After that, one more question, then we have to move
Okay.
on.
I believe if you're eligible for an account, a SMUD account, yes. Yeah. Yep.
My understanding, and others here might correct me, when I sold my SMUD home, my account went dormant. I had a PG&E account for 7 years, and I moved back to a different address. My SMUD account was reactivated with that original account number. So your account follows you if you move.
Within SMUD territory.
Yes. And it basically goes into stasis if you move out of SMUD territory.
You want to repeat what he said for the mic? For the recording?
What I said, or yeah, it's probably clear enough. And I don't think I'd be able to repeat it as accurately. What your experience was. Okay, moving on from rates, I'll give a quick update on other SMUD program activities. So on the DC fast chargers, we're expecting to have the Amtrak station up and running by the end of this year, DC fast chargers there. And for the Nugget and Sac Food Co-op sites, those are targeted for next year, 2016. And about a year ago, you may recall I presented that SMUD had a pilot offering for workplace and multifamily EVSE rebates for having them installed. So this year to date, we've had about 19 chargers installed under this pilot. We had budget for 24. And we still have budget for 2016. So I encourage any of you, if you know of any multifamily property owners, residents, or businesses looking to install infrastructure, please forward them along. Yes, David?
Are the Nugget and Sac Food Co-ops going to be NRG again, or is it open to somebody else?
Well, so those will be like the one in Citrus Heights and on SMUD's campus. So those are SMUD installed.
Well, it was NRG at Kaiser, wasn't it?
But that was independent of this effort, yeah. Yeah. Well, Green Lots is doing the billing, but we are using OCPP, so we could go with a different provider because it's an open charge point protocol. So that basically on the back office we could go with a third party, and I forgot when our contract with Green Lots runs out. But we wanted that flexibility, so we're not tied into one network provider. Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We have to hear in advance of the regular public what SMUD is planning to do and their intentions and the explanations behind that. So again, let's give a second round of applause. Thank you for coming out again. Oh. Second here. Roseville Electric has not been doing a lot with respect to EVs, but they said there's a dramatic uptick in the conversations going on inside Roseville Electric about EVs. So hopefully that's going to start building up to some actions. But nothing really going on now. Now, it's interesting that everybody's heard about the 23,000 charges that PG&E is doing, is asking for, for permission to do. They went to the CPUC to ask that permission. The CPUC, which is California Public Utilities Commission, very positive about it, but they wanted to break it into two phases. They wanted one phase to be very quick and out there, about 10% of the chargers to be done within 2 years. The rest of it is spread over time, a little bit longer period of time. So PG&E is expecting a final decision from the PUC in June of next year. So it's a slow process. You know, these government things and monopoly movements are always slow. David?
The PUC also disputed putting the entire financial burden on the ratepayers.
They did, yeah.
They said no.
That just came out.
They know, I hadn't heard that one yet.
That just came out.
Yeah, just in the last day or so. They're not, they think it's unfair and they're pushing back on it because they tend to pass it to the ratepayers.
So the word from the audience is that the CPUC is saying that that's got to somehow be shared. That investment cost. Okay. The sub-metering program, experimental program, is that's closed for applications. Let's see. Next. Over in El Dorado County, there's a new, in the Park and Drive, new charging station going in there, an L2. Also, they're looking at putting level 2s at these two restaurants. I'm not familiar with them, although one sounds good. Wine Country sounds like I'd like to stop by there. And then another one called Crystal View, both restaurants, and they're looking at L2s, and they're having general agreement with the owners. And remember, there's $1,000, if you're commuting along the 50 corridor, into Sacramento through El Dorado, there's $1,000 discount on any, that you get an incentive on any EV that you purchase. If you live in El Dorado County. Yeah.
You have to apply for that and get it approved before you buy the car.
They say that, yeah. And that's primarily because they're afraid of misunderstanding the rules and you're depending upon something you don't get. So they do ask you to apply in advance. I have heard of exceptions to that, but okay. Oh, Tesla's still looking. They say Tesla's still active, looking out there for some superchargers. So that'll be nice along the 50 corridor to South Lake Tahoe. Let's get that. So we're still working with the airport and trying to encourage the airport to add 14 more level 2 chargers in the parking garage to supplement the, what do we have, 12, 14 there now, I guess double it essentially.
Any movement to L1 chargers at the airport?
That would be looking, actually, I'm sorry, those 14 more would be L1s.
Okay, good.
My mistake, thank you for correcting me. Also looking at level 1s in the long-term parking as they put the solar in. At the cell phone lot would be, no, actually they're looking, for the fast charger, we can't use the gas station for that. There's some lawsuits going on, and BP said that they don't want to encourage EVs. So they're looking at the fallback position is the cell phone charging lot, and it actually is close to the power for SMUD. So.
We need a Russian government here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you shouldn't ask for things you don't want.
Yeah. And where's Randall? Oh, I want to point out that Randall was a key driver behind a lot of this work and was instrumental from kicking off activity to get the airport moving on this and pushing them to keep moving them along. So.
I'm glad to hear that.
There's still no place to plug in.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but.
I'm glad to hear that the cell phone lot is available, because I know when we first talked about this, they said that the infrastructure wasn't there to support the lot.
Yeah, they don't have any infrastructure in for it, but it's like I said, it's cheaper, closer to power.
I think in the end, when we first talked to them, they really didn't
Laura?
want to do a charging case for that, but they were finding excuses. And in the end, you know, just what I just said, oh, what do you know? SMUD says it. Everything is and, you know, 3 months ago, they were saying, oh, you just can't.
Please introduce yourself on that.
So I guess that's progress.
You want to hand stuff around?
Yeah, just start handing them around. And I have pins in here if people need pins.
Okay.
All right, we have an open board position. It's an at-large board position. And so I'm sure you guys got the notice a couple months ago asking for interest. And I've got a little information on Ashley, who is our candidate. I want to be clear, if there's any other interest, we would love nominations for the floor, and if anybody is interested in it. But I thought I would tell you a little bit about Ashley and her interest. Number one, she's been a great volunteer with us, so that right there. Ashley's originally from Folsom, but recently moved to Citrus Heights with her husband and her 10-month-old daughter. She's actually sent her apologize. She's a full-time recruiter for Target, and she was called away yesterday on business and apologized that, gee, even on the election, she was called away, so she apologized. She's currently leasing a Ford Focus EV, and she absolutely loves it. And I know you guys have done some events with her recently, and it's really fun to have her and her baby at events. People just think that's really neat. So she's signed up. She's volunteered with us.
Put that,
Oh, sorry.
put that on in here.
No, I'll just put it on my badge here. Sorry. We all love Michelle, I know. It's okay, she's not ready for you. I know. Yeah, no. No, we all voted for her. No, she's a little overwhelmed right now, but we'll get her on the board eventually. She knows she's targeted. She's got that on her back. But yeah, but Ashley's been involved with 350 Sacramento for some time, and they work to promote climate change awareness in our community. And so this has been a big passion of hers, number one, to reduce her carbon footprint, and it's been a great journey. And so we would love to have her. She's a great volunteer, and really appreciate her interest in it. And so if you guys, like I said, if anybody else is interested, we would love to have you put your name forth. Otherwise, we'd like to have you vote. And can I have them pass them back to you? Yep. So if you pass back to Becky, and we'll tally them. So you're already on the board, so you don't get to put your name forth. Well, but if somebody wants to write someone in, you know, write-ins are available. So, thank you for the time.
That was.
So this is an example.
Michelle is declining to run. You can still vote for her, though.
If you, yeah, you can we can all write.
You might have to serve anyway. Okay.
I'm
I'm gonna have to move it.
Who has the Soviet Communist government?
Okay.
All right, some events coming up.
I mean, I'm going to Tanzania.
Listen up.
And I've been to Kenya twice. I would not go back.
All right, listen up. All right, so we've got a number of events coming up. It's going to be a busy week in the next full week here. Saturday, partnering with Cool Davis to do both a show and tell and ride and drive. If you haven't signed up for that event and you'd like to kind of show off your vehicle, please let me know, and we'll add you to the list. We're looking to we get a pretty good turnout already, but we'd love to have some more. We've got dealers that are bringing several different cars, so it looks like we'll have at least I think at least 5 different dealerships there. In fact, that will also be doing a drawing. There'll be the same drawing for the we got 2 of these that we'll be drawing on. And the first person that buys a car after the event. So the event's on a Saturday, so Sunday at 12 a.m. The gate will open. The first person that sends proof of that at that point on that they just bought an EV from the 12 a.m. on will get a free charging station from Clipper Creek. And I was going to ask, and charging and the installation up to
$250.
200. How much?
Not including a permit.
How much?
We're giving it a discount of $250 off your installation.
$250 off the installation if you go Clipper Creek, not including the permit cost. So we're hoping that will spur on some interest to go visit the dealers the next day. We did that very effectively 2 years ago, and we had 3 people come in right away. So then at the same day, with the help of Detlef, right there, we're supporting SMUD at one of their events at the historic powerhouse in Folsom. So very opposite parts of Sacramento. This will just be a show and tell. You want to add anything to this, Detlef?
No. There's been quite a bit of interest. I've actually no idea how many cars are going to be shown. I've got 2 different lists with different names on them. Several shows.
I think 6.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I have a question about that event. California Automobile Museum supposedly is going to have the EV1 there. How did that go about?
I've not heard that.
Transporting that.
I don't know, and that's why it's on the CAM website that car is going to be at that event.
Well, there's also a guy who said he was going to bring, what was the name of that funky car that we looked up online?
Oh, yeah, it was some odd.
It was something from like the 90s or something. It looked like something you put together with sheet metal.
Like a neighborhood electric vehicle kind of thing, sheet metal. So anyway, we got to keep moving, guys. We'll have you here all night. So again, what's the time? Detlef, what's the time on that?
10 to 2.
10 to 2. So bring your cars half hour early. Nice thing is there, if you show your car, you don't have to. You park right up front, as with all the other events. You have nice straight parking, and it's the museum. If you haven't been to seen the powerhouse, it's a really great tour of one of the first powerhouses in the state to generate electricity from here and pump it down to Sacramento.
And
Yeah.
those people that bring their cars can also find Suzette from SMUD, and she will feed you.
You'll get feed. And I believe you'll be fed also at the Cool Davis event. And that's courtesy of Clean Cities.
And Piccini.
At Clean Cities? I mean at Davis? Okay, our money man here, by the way, George is our sponsor coordinator.
I have a question. For both events, it looked like you had multiple leaps. So what can I do?
Come and talk. Let someone can take a break going on the tours. Yeah, having more than one person there per vehicle is still great, especially when there's so much to see and do. Yeah.
The Powerhouse one?
Yes.
The Drive Electric Week website says it's on Sunday. Oh, I'm sorry, it does say Saturday 12th. Never mind.
I would not have been surprised. There's been a lot of challenges this year. So then we have a private Drive Electric Week event at SMUD. They had their Employee Appreciation Day, and they have asked us to come in and set up test drives and also show and tells. So for their employees, you know, you just assume that SMUD is a forward-thinking electric utility, that all their employees understand and get this thing about electric cars. But no, that was, we've got to get in there and educate everyone.
What is the time for that event?
George, would you want to describe that event?
10, the employees will be there from 10 to 2. Set up for us was 9:30 onward. Essentially, they're saying they'll have about 1,500 employees bussed in on site to basically interact with and be exposed to a variety of community nonprofits. And I think one of the impacts of this for the employees is to make them aware of donations they can make to community positive organizations, including us. So Guy and I have a wager as to how many people will donate to us versus the food bank, but I personally think we might win.
So what we want to show at that event is not just how great EVs are, but what the job is that SacEV is doing to drive that adoption forward and to support that community. So if you're at that event, first of all, let George know if you want to go to that event. And I've understood we'll get fed as well. But if you want to go to that, talk to George and think about, when you're talking to the employees, about not just EVs are good, but SacEV is working hard to make that happen. When's 16th?
Oh, okay. The 16th. Coming soon.
So is it just a booth over there, or are you also doing ride and drives?
Both.
Both. Okay. One request I have is, as you're talking with the SMUD employees, mention to them, if you could mention that the SMUD does have EVs in plug-in hybrids in our fleet. Apparently there's not a great awareness of that, because I keep running into people saying, no, we have electric vehicles for fleet.
So they have to do an errand for SMUD. They can grab one of those fleet vehicles and go?
Actually, so we're through an electronic fleet reservation system. If you need to go out for a meeting, you're supposed to use a company vehicle. And then you can actually select an EV. So right now we have a couple of plug-in hybrids, Volts and Ford Fusion Energy. So if you could mention to them that you can continue driving, that would be great.
So for off-site meetings and errands to use SMUD's electric fleet. Good. Okay, then some time for ourselves. Barbecue. Michelle's done a lot of work on finding a place that is very affordable and with a nice venue, shade, river views, and all that. Do you want to say a few words about that? I just surprise you right now.
That's okay. Discovery Park. We went over there a few weekends ago. I don't think it's doing anything. You can hear me. And it's just a nice place to hang out. You can look at the confluence of the river and the Sacramento and the American River, and there's a boat launch ramp if you have a boat, and I don't even know what's the menu going to be. What are we gonna?
We have to do with that. We have to deal with that.
Okay.
So you'll see email coming out that'll ask for volunteers to help set up the barbecue, do the cost run. SacEV is going to be paying for the food and the beverages. There's a $5 parking fee.
Yeah, the entrance fee to the park is $5 unless you own the city park year pass.
So ought to be fun to do a greeting of other EV drivers and owners, and just nice to relax. You don't have to explain or sell EVs at all. Okay. No, sorry. Then lastly, can you come on up, Becky, and talk a little bit about what's going on with Cal Expo? You know, I hope you're getting the sense that there's a lot of people contributing to the success of SacEV, and I really appreciate. Just holding you around here.
I got it. The International Auto Show. We decided this last year that we would participate with SMUD. Where? I'm sorry.
To get in the camera.
Oh. There you go. I wanted to be on camera. We decided to participate with SMUD on a larger scale, to put together drive electric. In the last couple of years, it's been known as Electric Avenue. SMUD has done an amazing job. It's going to be a bigger and better event this year. We're hoping, crossing our fingers, for a ride and drive. So once I get that confirmed through SMUD and SMUD's legal department, we'll have more information, but we'll be working with all the dealerships where the main entrance, as you come into Cal Expo, you'll see us. Not only will you see SMUD, but you will see SacEV. That's where we'll have wrapped vehicles. We'll be doing the ride and drive right. If you walk into the main entrance to the right, where Toyota has been in the past, that will be SMUD and SacEV. Then as you go down into the buildings, we're actually in building 2. We'll be the only building that you can access that direction. So we'll force people to go through building 2 and through all of the displays inside the building. So there's a lot going on. Also within those buildings is the children's activities. Again, perfect opportunity for those parents who want to do a test drive but they don't know what to do with their children. Walk them through the SacEV/SMUD building and into the children activities. So there's a lot going on. We're having, they'll have RC cars available, probably a DJ, lots of fun. So a little different than it has been in the past, but our goal here is to make an impression. Questions? With that said, everyone in this room, we're going to need your help. It's 10, 12-hour days for 3 full days.
I think it's been a couple of years since I did the Electric Avenue thing. In the past, the red carpet went, between the cars, and 95% of people never veered off the carpet to look at the cars.
There is a very good possibility that there will be a red carpet. So again, when you come in through the main entrance and you go to the right where we'll have our ride and drive, we're working to see about a red carpet that will take you through building 2 all the way through our building and then outside. And the same thing with when you come into the buildings, there'll be a wrapped vehicle right there at the main entrance of those 6 or 8 buildings. You walk up, we're in building 2, and again, that's where that red carpet will continue. More questions? Thank you.
All right. So this is a fun event to go to because you get to see all the other cars in the market. Even the gas cars, they're still kind of cool to look at still. So you have all these new vehicles coming out. So you can take a break from doing your education duties, go out the rest of the event, and look and see everything else that's going on. In the past, what we've asked for is generally 2-hour sign-up slots, and just pick 1 or 2 of those slots over the 3 days. And how many people have actually done that here before? Yeah, okay. So I think everybody enjoyed it and had a good time with it. So these are going to be very impactful. Last thing related to SMUD. Oh wait, before we leave the event, we will also be giving again another Clipper Creek charging unit after the event. So someone that buys an electric vehicle afterwards can send proof of that, and they get a charging station. The first one, not all of them. Okay, but again, we want to thank Clipper Creek again for donating that, especially with quality units like they make. That's so good. All right, Heath, please come on up and has anybody who's heard of the new Chevy Volt? Like, who has not heard of the new Chevy Volt? All right, we got 1 person out here, 2 people. So I'm going to ask you to take this. Yeah, everybody's. Want to put that in your pocket?
And we're sold out too. So the Volts here. Oh, instantly. What do I press for the next slide?
Oh, let's see. We'll get rid of this guy. And
Oh, just right here then?
yeah, space bar
Okay.
there.
Oh, wow. We missed one of them, but that's okay. Well, so the good news is that the 2016 Volt is on its way. It's been produced. We have about 8 coming. That's the first batch for our dealership. There's
One of those is mine, right?
yes.
Lloyd,
So
said one of them was his, so.
yes, I talked to him. I emailed him. Oh, over there? Okay. So I emailed him this afternoon about his also. So again, the good news is that they've been produced. They're on their way. They're either on rail, what have you. And we have VIN numbers, specific VIN numbers too. Okay. And what's interesting about this, I order these vehicles, and I have all the detailed order information you would normally have, but normally there's some pricing information, still no pricing information, and still no ETA, or estimated time of arrival. And I think part of that is that since they are trying to get a lot out to different locations, they don't want anyone to get their hopes up too much on a specific date. So I am blissfully ignorant about both the arrival time, the specific arrival time, although I think it'll be within 2 to 3 weeks. And also blissfully ignorant about the pricing. So now, the 16 volt, I mean, a number of you have seen pictures. I'm going to go over just some of the key substantive differences between the Generation 1 Volt and the 2016 Volt. But of course, what I'm not going to really cover, which is actually what a lot of people are already mentioning, is that a lot of people like the look of the new Volt. There are plenty of pictures out there where you can look at this. The styling inside as well as the outside. So that's for you to judge whether you like that or not. But what I thought I'd do is just go over some of the key improvements of the 16 over the 2015. And so I have our very last 2015 is in the back here if you want to look at that. I'm selling other dealerships vehicles and I have the very last one in the back there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this. So the EV range is going from an EPA estimate of 38 to 53. So that's a pretty substantial improvement, especially given that the battery size isn't increasing that much. The total range of the vehicle is going from, and of course that's EV range along with extended range, is going from 380 miles to 420 miles. The MPGE is improving from 98 to 106. And just some additional features. Extended range, of course, this is after you've gone through your EV range. The miles per gallon for the extended range is improving from 37 to 42. You'll now be able to use regular gasoline. Actually, you could before also, but you just weren't supposed to. And anyhow, a little less expensive here. And the seating will go, although I imagine this will be a point of contention for some. it's going from 4 to 5, though of course that fifth seat will have a bit of a hump, and we'll just see how that goes. So again, those are some of the major substantive improvements. On the other hand, there's quite a few other more minor ones also, and I'm sure some of you have read up on that quite a bit. So, any questions? Any questions or comments? No, sure, go ahead.
Just a warning. In 2012, you had to ensure that you bought the low emissions package Volt because there was a 49-state Volt. In 13, 14, and 15, there was only one Volt, 50 states. This year, for the 2016, there's going to be a 49-state Volt floating around. So, Chevy's certifying both. So, you have to make sure that you have the right one. None of those 49-state Volts should make it into California, but don't get excited about buying one in Oregon because there's no sales tax and bringing it into the state, because if it's not a low emission package Volt, then it won't be eligible for rebates.
Exactly, yeah. And of course for new vehicle ordering, if you get a new one, yes, it is the right package with a low emissions package, definitely. Okay. Any other questions here? Or here, now let me mention something else here. Come on. Don't worry, this won't take too long here. Seemingly, here we go. So, along with the general volt improvements, we have dealership improvements. Okay, so the first one is this is the volt display at the solar charging station. The charging canopy has been providing up to roughly 10% of the dealership electricity. Actually, it's much more than enough for the volts. It's providing some of the dealership energy, and the we decided to increase this tenfold. We're going to increase the number of canopies by about 10, and what that'll bring us to is roughly self-sufficiency. So that's pretty neat, huh? Yeah, roughly self-sufficiency. So that's one improvement.
When?
And how it'll be within 1.5 years. We're actually doing this at our other locations too, like the Toyota dealership. The LED lights, I mean, this is one of the ones right here in the canopy, but we're doing this both exterior and interior with sensors as well. So making those improvements, and wow, that's just amazing how that will cut down on the energy use, of course. We have a lot of outdoor lighting, for example, and so that's quite an effect. We've actually been expanding on one side of the building, the south-facing side especially, we've got the new double pane windows, for example, and a lot of other features which will really reduce the energy needs, both heating and air conditioning. And then finally, well, I was actually involved in an assessment recently of all the recycling that we do, the waste management and recycling, and believe me, there's quite a bit going on in terms of this is an example for the cardboard, but yeah, aluminum, the batteries, all sorts of improvements in recycling and in disposal as well. So yeah, these are some of the things that we're doing to try to bring our efforts together with the improvements in the Bolt. And now one thing that we were considering doing, I'll just kind of bring this up for discussion here, is it's a question of timing. But would there be interest when we get a number of these? And again, we got some sold orders coming in, but when we get at least a couple or a few vehicles in, maybe we can have folks come by and to show the vehicle. Would there be interest in seeing the 2016 Volt?
Well, that's why we want to have that November meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you can see mine.
Maybe the hour before the meeting, the 5 to 6. Come in early take some test drives, or look at it, take test drives in it.
Yeah, and this is going to be a challenge for me, of course, is that, yeah, a number of these are sold orders, and they're just going to be coming in like one at a time initially, I think. So there may not be enough initially. I would hate to have a meeting and then, I don't have one to show, because I literally only have one to show right now.
We'll have a couple to show.
But yeah, so maybe by then, hopefully there would be. But yeah, I can try to coordinate with you on when it looks like we have at least a few, and ideally arranged too. Okay, so great. Anything else? That's it? Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, I know you guys are all waiting for the. Whoop.
One thing really fast, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to let everyone know here that Heath is probably, and if somebody here knows something more, please correct me if I'm wrong, the only one in the Sacramento region that is charging his Volt wirelessly.
Heath is charging you're charging your Volt wirelessly?
At home,
At home?
yes.
Wow.
Plugless for him, what, a month ago maybe? Yeah. The EV Tran, it's plugless. Yeah. So very cool. So if
Anyone?
he's interested in
Yeah.
learning a little bit about it, or
So if you'd like to think about charging your Volt wirelessly, or even I think there's even Nissan Leaf versions of it. Ask during after we break. Go ahead and talk to Heath about that. Okay. I know you're waiting for the results of the election, but before we do that, So our sponsor, one of our sponsors, SMUD again, has asked for put out an urgent request and to see if anybody is interested in leasing to SMUD an electric car for 3 weeks. This is, they need a car to help Sacramento State participate in the solar decathlon down in Southern California. And there was a number of things that went on in their project planning that didn't come out quite right, and they suddenly have found themselves short of an electric car to go along with the solar house that they built here. They cut it up and they sent it down to Southern California, reassemble it. Now just the house, not the car, just the house. But they need an electric car to go along with that for 3 weeks from the 28th of September, coming up soon, until into October. If you're interested in leasing that to SMUD, please let Suzette or you can let a board member know, and we'll get you connected. All right, they really are put out a panic call today for that. Yeah.
Enterprise Rental Car had some EVs that they were renting for a while, so just to consider.
Mention that to her. Yeah.
That might be another option. They don't have them anymore.
So yeah, so Enterprise doesn't anymore, huh? Okay. So I went through, counted out, and the winner is Ashley. But I want to point out that they didn't leave Michelle completely off the hook. There was still a number of votes that came in. So I think we have to also note that Michelle will be participating now, even whether she likes it or not. Now she's voted in as a general help participating. But Ashley will be on the board, and you can join the board next year. Thank you. And so, like I said, you're not off the hook, though, for this year. Okay, so we'll move on. Quickly, anybody have the time? Yeah. All right, 7 o'clock. So we're down the final stretch here. How many people have heard about the corridor charging grant from the CEC? A few. Okay, the CEC came out with a request for proposals or such to provide corridor charging. In the past, they've done several different ones, from planning, site planning, to creation of EV charging locations and such. This one is focusing on the corridors. So they've got $10 million available for completing the north-south electric highway that starts up at the Canadian border and stops just short of the California border. So they want to complete that out. And to look at that, well, I want to come back to this slide, but you can see several, they've got 3 corridors in their primary route. They're asking for separate bids for each corridor. So if a company wants to put in a proposal for 2 corridors, it's 2 different proposals. And the interesting part on this, I think I missed the one loop from up here. Goes from the border down to Sacramento on I-5. They also then, from Sacramento, they go along, go south on 99, not I-5 going south, which is something SacEV and the Electric Auto Association pushed very hard for. They added also some of 101 getting in from the Bay Area into the LA area. And there's a gap down in LA there. There's a second set of corridors that add 99 north of Sacramento in as well, and add 5 back south of Sacramento. The difference between the secondary and the primary, is the secondary ones do not require, oddly enough, do not require SAE in the fast charger. So these are generally, each station will have a fast charger. In the primaries, will be both dual SAE and CHAdeMO, and then I think 1 or 2 level 2s. Those are kind of the minimums. In the secondary ones, the SAE fast charger is not required. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it. They will get points for it, but it's not an absolute must. Also, if you notice, the difference between the distances between the charging stations On the secondary, between 10 and 20. Whereas on the primary, they're 5, more of them are in the 5 range. They drop down to get them close enough to 5 miles apart.
There's some DC fast chargers 5 miles apart?
Yeah, in a couple of these corridors, they're looking at 5 miles desired separation between them.
I think in Washington, Oregon, it's 25, right?
Yeah, it's much bigger. So these are...
That doesn't make sense to me. Is that for redundancy or just for...
yeah, I mean, if one's down, you can go on to the next one. And also, the problem with is when you're filling only go up to 80%. If they're not spaced out fairly frequently, you're having to really stop much earlier than you like because you can't go to the next one, or you'd have to. You really end up having to compromise your driving.
I can understand that.
Quite a bit.
With greater amount of traffic involvement, and
So behind this, the general hope.
Stop every 30 miles.
Are,
30 minutes. It's a place.
hold on a second. So behind this, there are 2 big events that, over the next 2 years that will help drive EV adoption, and both of them together are very impactful. The DC fast charger deployment on the corridors, and the 200-mile range EVs. That suddenly, those 2 together, takes a lot of the anxiety, takes a lot of the issues away from owning an electric vehicle.
You know, Guy would point out there were some comments at the spacing, but one of the things we pointed out in the proposal was, I mean, we're thinking of it as a corridor, but the San Joaquin Valley has the most impacted air quality, and about 6 or 7 million people, and there's a big EV market in the San Joaquin, in Fresno, and Modesto that needs serving as well. So to the extent that you may live in Fresno and never use the corridor except you need to get to Modesto, it's going to, having the concentrated DC chargers is going to foster the, you know, just the regional EV deployment, and not let alone the corridor.
Yeah, and that's again why one of the things that SacEV and the EAA pushed very hard on is to pick down the 99 corridor because of you populate the metro areas, which are underpopulated now, and they have also the worst, some of the worst air quality in the state. So by getting those fast chargers to having dual value, not just corridor but metro value. Now, if you look throughout their entire document, they don't refer to that latter value. They refer strictly to corridor, and they're very focused on that. But that's why the choice of the corridors is so important. Okay.
I have a quick question on the requirement for that. You might have mentioned this. For each site, is there a requirement for a minimum number of DC fast chargers? Like if the CHAdeMO qualifies, or you need SAE and CHAdeMO, is it like 1 per site, or?
The requirement is 1 of each of these. For the primary ones, it's 1 CHAdeMO and 1 SAE, and they could be the single unit with dual.
But there's a problem with the single unit. You can only operate 1 at a time.
That's right. Then they will take as a more competitive bid those that offer 2 units. So they're not pushing very hard on the requirements. They're hoping the bids, the solutions that come in, will start trying to compete on the basis of that extra value. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. All right. And I think that's about it to wrap up. Has everybody done the poll? Has everybody seen the survey that we're asking for? Who has done the survey? You can just raise your hands. All right. Can you those guys with them? Can you pass around the little sheet to do the survey? George, you have something?
I have a reminder. I solicited on our news distribution a request for front windshield sizes for different model EVs, because we have a very good chance that SMUD will buy those sunscreens for our cars that will carry something like a message, "This is an electric car driven by SMUD," or some such. But I only have the specs for about 3 different models. So if you're driving anything other than a Tesla, a Fiat, or a BMW i3, I do not have your windshield specifications. And if you want a shot at a free solar sponsored windshield sunscreen, please email me.
When did you send that out?
About a week, 10 days ago.
Yeah, because I don't remember that myself, but
I saw it.
good.
Guy never sees the things I send him, so this is not.
I've got a filter on it with your name on it, George.
Spam filter automatically.
All right, so yeah, if you have something besides the Tesla i3 and the what was the other one you had?
Fiat EV.
Fiat. Yeah, is it just taking the dimension, the dimension on the windows?
Inside dimensions of your front windshield.
And you'll be able to be eligible for getting a free sunshade. Okay, again, that's the end of the meeting. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
We live up by Folsom, and so on Saturday morning from 8 to 10, they start a little early at times. They have a Cars and Coffee in Folsom. By the
Really?
In and out, there's a In and Out, and then there's a hotel, Hampton Inns or something.
I mean, what, Cars and Coffee? What is it?
Cars and Coffee. What it is if it rolls, it goes. So a lot of them, you got Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, hot rods, classic cars. Well, there's also regular cars. I mean, some people show up in a Toyota FJ40 or something. And we've gone there with our car, popped the hood and stuff, and had a couple people come around, and actually the little card would help about SacEV since it's in Folsom. Anyway, the point was, is if you guys are near Folsom up at that time, show up with your EV cars and show them off.
It's awesome. There's almost nothing for EV cars though.
Why don't we do two things? Let's put it in. We'll put it in the SacEV calendar. Send me an email describing as much as you can. I'll put it in the SacEV calendar so you can always look, see for location and such.
It'd be nicer to have more, EV cars and stuff at that representing there than the full license.
That would be fun. Sounds like fun. Okay, I've got cards, so see me after this. Any other topics before we close?
We have another big round of applause for Owen standing there for, again, hosting us here.
Yes, you missed the first one, Owen.